We are here at Cafe 505, and the wonderful manager, Robin, what is your last name? Fraser. Robin Fraser. This restaurant always closes at 2 in the afternoon, and she has been very generous in allowing us to come in once a month. She opens the library, and she has this wonderful young lady here who comes in specially for us so we can hold our book discussions. And it's just a very cozy atmosphere, very relaxed. We have wonderful coffees to choose from. And since they're closed, I always make a dessert. So this month's menu is Texas sheet cake. Yes.
My name is Will Durbin, and I will be leading a discussion today on Truegrit, Charles Postal's 1986 Western novel.
I have these people introduce themselves,
Sure.
since we already did, all of us.
David Greer, her classmate.
Laboratory of our class. Classmate.
I've been around some smart people in my lifetime, and that's the smartest man I've ever known.
Oh, really?
Really.
You haven't been around too many.
Don't travel much.
I've tried to stump him a number of times.
You can, I agree. Yes, he has a great memory.
He sure did.
And your name?
Rose Bamoli.
It is not.
I'm from New York City. I came all the way out here for this.
But anyway, so Carolyn had mentioned that Maddie seemed very forward and salty for a 14-year-old. And I was just mentioning real quick that unlike Kill a Mockingbird or Huckleberry Finn, where the authors chose to deliver the narrative from the perception of the 14-year-old, Truegrit is written by a 50-year-old who's remembering, her years as a 14-year-old. So some of the starch that comes through in her speech is, I think, a part of her older persona. And so really that strength comes from her older, the vulnerability is lost over time, and now this old spinster comes through. So, thank you. Of course, Truegrit was written in 1986. And Portis was actually born in Arkansas in 1933. He enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps during the Korean War, but never really served. He was actually, one of his first jobs was to be a reporter, so a lot of the dry, sort of quick commentary that you find in the book is probably due to his career as a journalist. He was from Yale County, which is home of Maddie. And does anybody know the two county seats in Yale County? One is Dardanelle,
Danville.
and the other is Danville. So yeah, and Danville currently has, the whole county has 2,100 residents. Or it's 21,000, so yeah.
Is there any relation between him and Maddie?
And Maddie, I don't think so. I think it's just a fictional character. And actually, one of my next points was Charles Postal was not a very successful writer, with his exception. He wrote 5 of the novels. This was his only Western that he wrote. And the other ones were set in contemporary time for him. One of them is called Norwood, in which he's taking this very long...
Charles Portis has been described as one of the most inventively comic writers of Western fiction. With an unerring ear for the rhythms of speech and idiosyncrasies of language, he delivers deadpan humor as his characters strive to come to terms with their own limitations in an increasingly cockeyed world. End of quote. He utilizes the techniques of humor to define various components of the American character and its spirit.
And so this comes from a bio from Emory College. And I just wanted to begin us off to talk about the question that I have there is, does Portis maintain this inventively comedic quality in Truegrit? A book about a girl who goes out after the murder of her father into Indian territory with 2 nefarious characters that, one of them is a drunk and the other one is this hotshot, a Texas Ranger, and ends up killing, her father's murderer. So is this comedic? Is there a lot of comedic?
No.
No, I don't think so.
None that I've seen. Well, the guy that plays the marshal. drunken qualities that might be portrayed as humorous. But, I mean, like he's drinking almost the whole trip.
Yeah.
And he'll empty a bottle and throw it up in the air and shoot at it 3 or 4 times and miss, and then it'll hit the ground and he'll shoot it and break it.
Yeah.
I mean, you might say that's humorous.
He falls off his horse and.
Yeah, he fell off his horse.
Yeah.
I think there's dry humor throughout, it's not.
Yeah.
That was the
Right.
stitches.
Yeah, there's a lot of dry humor.
Yeah, maybe dry humor, but I just can't say it's comic.
But it's not a funny topic.
No.
So, I mean, it is sort of hard to piece. Carolyn, you look like you had.
I think the part of Maddie is somewhat comic because of the way she answers everyone's question. No one can get ahead of her. I mean, not,
Was
the guy in.
Stonehill,
Yeah, the stock
is
in
it
the
Colonel
factory.
Stonehill?
Right, the guy that sold the horses and
Yes.
cotton.
Right,
Yes.
yeah, she just
I mean-
negotiates circles around them.
Oh, yeah.
Is it really comic or is it just?
I think, well, I
Is it
think
just
somewhat
wit?
it is comical.
Oh.
What American characteristics or spirit did you pick up in the book? And just as an example, I think one that strikes you very clearly is Maddie and her Presbyterian centeredness. And it wasn't, she actually talks about Catholic, which would represent the old world, and some of the other religions that were founded in the United States. And that was something that was sort of unique to American culture, was this identification with Christian lifestyle as opposed to the old world, which you were almost certainly Italian first and then Catholic second.
Don't you think that she had to act that way because she was the oldest one in the kids in her family, her dad depended on her, her mother? So when she went out there to right the wrong,
Yeah.
she had to take over and show her authority a little bit.
Yeah, she had to go to her brother though.
No, she didn't have any choice because she wanted to,
Bring the
Revenge.
outlaw to justice.
huh?
She wanted to bring the outlaw to justice.
Right, she did.
But she had a younger brother though, and you'd think that he would be the one that was ruined. And it doesn't say how old he is, I don't think. I don't think it ever mentioned.
Oh, this was about 8.
Yeah.
He was pretty young.
And then, she had another sister that the way it sounded, that the mother was pretty wishy-washy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I actually have a quote that we'll get to when we talk about Maddie Smith, which is a couple questions down. But yeah, certainly, compared to the rest of her family, Maddie, for some reason, seems to be the sharp one, the one that is,
Yeah.
I think she had the starch in her dad
Industrious.
Yeah.
than her mother.
Yeah.
She may have had more stars than her dad, because
Yeah.
remember, Dad helps out the drunk,
Yeah.
Yeah.
tends to give a lot. Maddie takes care of the finances, even when Dad's alive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Dad goes to her and gets the money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and it's exclusively. Agro courses in.
Yeah. it is.
Apple, of course, they were pioneers, and we had Willa Catherine, runs here. So these frontier women seem to have a string of them, plain spoken, strong-headed, strong-willed, ready to do it. Very
My way or the highway.
Yeah. And a lot of
That's only in
that-
fiction. Have you read about the mental health of pioneer women? A lot of them went crazy inside. Well, a lot of mental illness. You read somebody, well, sure they did.
Yeah.
That's part of the family, and you take a woman out of Illinois, or any place where you got forest and you've got trees for heat, and you take her out and put her in the prairie, and then there's neighbors a mile away, and there's no trees, and you can see for miles and see nothing.
Well, and not to mention that the men probably were allowed to leave the home and go to the town and.
Well, it takes
Have
a day,
social
it takes a
interactions.
day and a half to get there.
Right, but they were still allowed to.
Yeah, they got away once in a
The
while.
women had to stay there all the time.
Well,
So
it
you
was
can imagine
dreadful,
what
dreadful.
Cattle people would say,
Go
yeah.
out there in Nebraska now and see what it's like.
Yeah.
They're all living, they go to Colorado.
In fact, even in the book there, once he mentions there's 6 trees between us and Canada.
Yeah.
The joke out there is the only thing between us and the Canadian border is a barbed wire fence,